Okay, so in this tutorial we'll start looking at how we can make the runway automatically be created so that the player can be jumping on blocks. So we'll be generating a number of blocks. So first thing that we're going to do is we'll create an empty node. Okay, we'll call this node, and it's not supposed to be within this. So I'll just click on the scene, then we'll create the empty node. So this node is going to be called game manager. So now game managers are very common in games. Okay, they are normally used to keep track of things that are happening, like being able to spawn items, delete items, keep track of the score, stuff like that. So we can create a game manager, an empty node. Then inside here we'll create a script. Okay, we'll create a script inside our scripts folder. So this is going to be a type script. Then we'll say game manager. Okay, then of course on the game manager empty node that we've just created, we'll add a new component. So here we'll search for the script. So that's the game manager node. Then you can go on and open the script. Okay, another thing that we'll do is we'll create what's called a prefab. So this cube, we want to generate multiple cubes. Okay, let me just go back here. So we want to generate multiple cubes. All right, so but we don't want to be creating them manually. So what we can do is we can do what's called instantiating, which is pretty much cloning the cube. So we can clone multiple cubes so that it creates a runway where the user can run. Okay, for now I think what I'll do is, so the current cube, I'll just set its scale on the x-axis to be at 3. Okay, at 3. Okay, then let me just move it, not 33 but 3. Okay, then we'll just move it, pull it a little bit further. Okay, so that the player is just standing right on top of it. Okay, so like that. Now to create a prefab, perhaps we'll first of all create a folder in our assets. So this folder, we can call it prefabs. So it's just going to be containing things that will be duplicated. Then we can drop the cube. You can see I'm just dragging it from there, and then I'm bringing it down inside the folder. So this creates the cube prefab. So the cube prefab, we can use this in source code to then be able to make multiple versions of the cube. Now in the script that we've opened, the first thing that we need to do is we need to create a little bit of logic. So what needs to happen is we need to create cubes in certain spaces and leave certain spaces empty so that the player can jump from cube, jump over an empty space to another cube. All right, so we need to define more like 2 states, okay, or two possibilities. So for this we've got what we call an enum. Okay, so we'll call this enum block type. Okay, we'll be making reference to this later on. I think this actually has to be on the outside. Okay, so we'll call the first one bt none. Okay, this is going to represent an empty space. Then we shall call bt stone. Okay, So BT stone is going to represent the area where the user can actually step on. So BT none is going to be the area where the user can't jump, and then BT none is going to be the area where the user can jump. Okay, so stone, jumping, none, empty space. So when we create an enum like this, it allows us to call these items almost like an array. So we can call this one 0 and this one 1. So this is the first one 0, the second one is none. So the index starts off at 0. Then for us to link the actual prefab, the cube itself, the one that's going to be instantiated, all right? So let me put a comment here. We'll say cube prefab, all right? So we'll create a property for it at property. Then the type is going to be prefab. So type prefab, okay, comes there. So make sure that it also shows up there in the import. Okay, as you've seen, it came as a suggestion. Okay, so for this we'll call it cube prfb. Then prefab is going to be the type. It's going to be initially empty until we drag the prefab itself later on. Okay, so this will allow us to link the prefab later on to the game manager. Okay, so once that is done, we need to define a few more things. Maybe let me just do 2 more things, and then I'll stop the tutorial for this introductory one, and then we'll begin another tutorial at another time. So firstly, we need to know the size of the rod. Okay, so we can say the total length of the rod. Okay, so for this we can just create a, of course you can make it as long as you want, but we'll say it's going to be 50 because that's what's in the tutorial. Okay, so public rod length is 50. Then so it's going to take up about 50 spaces. Then in these 50 spaces, we'll either be putting in an empty space or a cube. An empty space or a cube. All right. Then we can then create what would be an array. Okay, so this is going to use an array. Okay, later on we'll come and fill this in. Okay, so what we shall do is we'll create an array for all of the 50 spots. Okay, for all of the 50 spots, and then those 50 spots we can then decide, is spot number 1 empty, is spot number 2 a stone, is spot number 3 another stone, just like that. Okay, so the array is going to keep the values. Really it's just going to be between 0 or 1. Are we having this one or are we having this one per spot, from 1 all the way up to 50. Okay, then when the game manager loads, when it starts, we want it to run a function called generate rod. So generate rod, we've not yet defined it. We'll create it here. Generate rod. Okay, so this is pretty much what we need to get started. So in the next tutorial we'll create the logic for the generate code, the generate rod code, and then we'll create another function that will actually then pick a block and then instantiate it, which will spawn the block. So for now, this is where we'll end. Like the video, subscribe, leave a comment. Thank you for the support.